So here we go. We're sailing across the Atlantic. We left Cape Town, went to Namibia. Now we're in St. Helena and getting ready to leave for Ascension Island, which is on the blue line about 700 or 800 miles to the northwest. That's the blue line. So that's where we're going. So please come sailing with us from St. Helena to Ascension Island. St. Helena Radio, St. Helena Radio. This is Brick House, Brick House. So as we depart, I call on the radio, let St. Helena Radio that we are now departing after we've done all of our paperwork. So as we sail away, rain in the air, mist in the air, and it's not the friendliest day, but the weather forecast shows that it's going to get better and better. It starts to pour as we depart, but that's okay. It gets calm again really quickly. So, and the monitor wind vane gets put in place, and we start sailing along.
Where are you taking us?
I don't know, somewhere north. Yeah, I'm still not in the best of moods, but hey, we're on our way, and Ascension Island, nobody can get on, nobody can get off. So it's a pretty sure stop that we're just going to keep continuing on after a 1-week visa there. Goodbye, St. Helena. Way back there in the background now. The sailing's nice. It's all downwind still with the wind right behind us. So we never even put up the mainsail the whole way there. We just put up a good part of the Genoa. And we comfortably sail downwind for about 7 or 8 days. Pretty much like this the whole time. Not a whole lot of change, not a whole lot of wildlife, but nice weather, although those clouds look a little ominous up ahead, don't they? So Predict Wind says it's going to be pretty nice weather the whole way, a little bit of wind, a little bit of rain, enough wind to be able to sail the whole way, so that's what we're going to do, sail the whole way.
So we're about 20-30 miles out of St. Helena now, heading just slightly northwest. We left in a bit of a squall, a lot of rain. It's cleared up now, but up ahead of us it's looking pretty black, and that should actually be speeding away from us, but it might well be backing up, and we may end up with a bit of rain tonight. So anyway, we're making good progress. There's at least 20 knots of wind. We're doing 6 knots of boat speed. I'm just doing my checks up front, one walk around before it starts getting dark. So far so good. We're making good progress. Good to be getting underway off to Ascension.
Michael, what's going on?
We've hooked a nice fish. Not sure how big, probably bigger than anything we've caught so far.
Oh, it's a Dorado!
Hey?
It's a Dorado! Yeah, all those rainbow colors have to be a Dorado.
Whoa.
Did he flip it?
Well, he's diving out of the water.
Yeah, you gotta keep it tense when he jumps, I think. That's how I lost my one yesterday. Is he on still?
He's still on.
Okay. Oh yeah, there he is. Oh, he's trying so crazy to get off. He's experienced at this. He's done this before. Oh! Side deck, Michael, not the cockpit. Oh, look at how beautiful he is.
He's off.
Oh, he is? Oh, darn. How much further?
Must be about 140? 60.
So when are we going to get there? Oh, when are we going to get there? Tomorrow? The next day? When are we going to get there?
Well, if we slow it down, we can get there on Sunday. If we speed it up, we can get there tomorrow.
Are we there yet? You're on watch now. So things were going pretty well between Michael and I too, and we were trying harder to be nice to each other. Mainly I was trying to be nicer to him, and it was going okay, and still high hopes for the relationship. The sailing was really great. Definitely the milk run of our trip across, pretty much the whole way from Cape Town has been such nice sailing.
Oh, looks like I'm getting some dessert. Yay. Okay, I'm coming. I'm going to try and not fall over.
Well, don't fall over or I'll have to eat the whole thing myself.
Yummy. Nougat. Is it not?
Wedgwood or something.
Oh, Wedgwood.
I don't know. What does it say on your first half? I have half of it.
I got
What is it?
Wedgwood almond.
Wedgwood almond. Yummy.
Handmade.
Yummy.
Bloody good stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, we want a box of that, please.
So, Michael, what's that you have on?
My life jacket. Yeah, my life jacket I have on.
Why do you have it on? If you fell over, it would blow up, and then you'd sit there floating forever. What good would that be?
Well, it's got an AIS transponder on it.
Right, the ACR.
The ACR transponder, so you'd be able to go back and find me. Well, the man overboard position would be relayed from this to your chart plotter. And you'd be able to zone in on me by following the path towards the signal that you're getting from the transponder.
Everybody should have one of those.
Where's yours?
I didn't go forward. Mine's right there.
Have you been forward at all on this passage?
Yes.
You had it on?
Yes. I always have it on.
Yes.
Yes.
I lost the Dorado just now, but I got something else that could be useful for breakfast.
What'd you get? Flying fish? Seaweed? How long has he been on deck?
Yeah, probably since this morning. He's still a little bit on the soft side, but you could put a hook through his face and troll him behind there, and then you're guaranteed to catch something. Anyway, you can go back to the ocean. Oh, now I got smelly fingers.
Yeah, don't touch me.
Okay, promise.
So here we are approaching Ascension Island. It's getting dark. We're not going to make it into the anchorage by dark, so we've taken down all our sails, and we're just going along under bare poles.
Bare poles the whole way. It's been beautiful.
So all night long we sailed under bare poles, going 1, 2, 3 knots at the most. It was dark, and then it got lighter. Even after 14 years of sailing around the world, I still get so excited when I see land again in the distance, and we made it, and we're going to be safe, and we have a new place to explore. All we have to do is anchor first. Morning! It was perfect timing. We still had another, mile to go. The sun wasn't quite up, but by the time we got into the anchorage, we'd have the sun behind us, and we'd see a little bit into the water, and it would just be the perfect time to anchor. We were welcomed by a dolphin and a beautiful sunrise and some very mountainous land. We had quite a bit of paperwork required to come here. We had to get visas in advance from England because it is an English territory, and we had to get landing permits and go according to COVID permits, and we didn't have to get any tests to come here first, and we didn't even have to get any tests to land, so that was a good cost savings. But it did cost probably about $100 or $150 to apply for all the permits in order to be allowed to come here, and you're only allowed to come here for 1 week. We had a little decision to make as we came into the harbor: go to the other side of this big boat or come to the side that we did. It's a good thing we chose this side because come to find out there was a big cable extending off of its stern on its port side.
Come and take the helm, I'll just loosen it.
It's already nice and protected, huh?
Yes, it is.
And the recommended is 10 to 12 meters. Don't go in past 10 or 12 meters or it gets to be foul ground and it gets to be sand on top of rock.
So, do you want to put the units on meters there, because we're in feet at the moment? Are you happy with that? 30 feet is 10 meters, eh?
Is this the cultural difference my mother told me about? Always keeping a good lookout to see if there's any buoys in the water or wrecks that aren't on the chart, new wrecks, fishing traps.
Beautiful.
Nice beaches, huh?
Beautiful.
I didn't expect it to be so mountainous. I expected it to be flat with one mountain.
Yeah.
Because you always only hear about one mountain. So Michael's going forward to get the anchor ready. He has to untie it because it was tied up for the passage. And he's taking the Play-Doh out of the hawse pipe, which prevents water coming in the hawse pipe while we're underway in any kind of bad weather. Didn't need it for this trip, but always good to have it in. One less thing to worry about if and when bad weather comes. So now that we're in about 30 feet of water, Michael's letting out the chain very slowly so that it doesn't pile up. We don't want it to pile up, we want it to stretch out nicely. Our bow's not swinging around yet.
Okay, 150.
So Michael stays up at the bow to watch the anchor set. We don't have the snubber on yet, so he has to watch carefully to make sure we don't rip anything out. How does he know there's 150 feet of chain out? See the 3 wire ties? He saw 1 cable tie pass by. That's 50 feet. 2 ties is 100 feet. 3 ties is 150. As usual, Michael made another beautiful dinner that we shared as the sun went down for another day.
Cheers. To another anchorage.
Cheers.
More.
Yep, plenty more, huh? And this is a pretty beautiful one.
Yummy.
Not too shabby. Out in the middle of the Atlantic, huh? These are the half-price salsa chips from St. Helena.
Yeah. And the moldy cheese.
And the moldy cheese.
This is the moldy cheese. Cheers, Rayhart. The cheese is from Cape Town.
Really?
From last May.
Did he bring it?
No,
Oh.
but he always liked the old food that I had, like the old carrots. We still got to eat those ratty carrots. We still have those carrots, Rayhart.
Pretty good, huh?
Yummy.
Does it need salt?
Doesn't need anything. You did it perfect. Compliments to the chef.
Indeed. Where's he? Where's the chef? Where's the boat boy?
Turn that camera around. Food all over your tongue. Aww. You do keep us eating very well.
We've both done exceptionally well. Look at that. We flattened it, and I don't think we're even done yet. On camera for me.
I can't burp on camera. You had to be there or not.
Bottle is still good.
If you film long enough and give me another glass, you might watch me vomit on film.
Well, the sun is truly down. It's still what? It's still about 26 degrees, eh? And 6:30, 7 o'clock. Last night this time we would have been about 80 miles out, I think. And tell us about our approach this morning.
Uneventful. We saw some dolphins. So all night long we just drifted with no sails up, and I think this nice Dodger here is like a better sail than the old Dodger was. The other Dodger I think had too much, what is it called when a sail has a lot of bagginess to it?
Bagginess?
Bagginess. I think the old Dodger had a lot of bagginess to it. Because with the old Dodger, if we took down all the sails, we'd go maybe 1.5 knots, 2 knots. With this Dodger, with all the sails down, we go like 3.5 knots.
The wind vane, the monitor just kept us on track.
That was amazing. It was right
amazing,
downwind. It was a little disconcerting because I saw 2 ships in the middle of the island, which made me feel that maybe the island was being represented a little bit to the west more than it should have been, because boats that have AIS on them are generally in a harbor. So I thought maybe we don't know exactly where the land is if we're just following our electronics. So what I did is I went into a vital map, which shows me satellite charts, and I put the GPS on that, and I went into 2 other format charts to make sure, to see how those showed it, and everything showed these boats in the middle of the island. So they really have some boat in the middle of the island, or maybe they're ships with the AIS. I'm not sure what they were, but they were definitely in the middle of the island.
So that basically meant that we could have been heading towards land if the charts were
closer
incorrect.
than we thought we were. And the
sure.
lights looked closer. You know how lights at sea and lights on water are always, it's hard to tell how far they are away. So I didn't want to assume that the island was really 2 miles away or 8 miles away, whenever it was that I did it, when really it was much closer, or it was much further. That's happened so many times, especially on islands in the middle of oceans, that they're misplotted by a mile or 2. And, you think you're going to miss them, but you ride up right along the side of them, and some people, go aground because they've gotten too close to them because they assume that the charts are right. And the charts aren't always right. It's always a reminder to me every time we come up on an island in the middle of an ocean that you just can't assume that your charts are right.
Yeah.
In this case, they were.
100%.
And Navionics is great for that. They're, 95% of the time they're right, but the 5%, is the time that, what was that, the Vendée Globe that, well, they didn't zoom in far enough to see the toll that they hit, but you can't,
Right up
you
close.
just can't assume anything's right. You have to cross-check it 5 different ways.
Yeah, of course, caution is the best policy on all approaches.
So the next morning we did a quick check-in, nice and easy, and we went to see Long Beach, where the turtles nest. Hundreds and hundreds of nests, one of the biggest nesting sites in the world for green turtles. The birds circle high above the beach, looking for any little baby turtles that are hatching, and they hatch every single day there. This guy came to a fateful ending. He's now on a beach, not in the water.
These are the little buggers that bit me.
Look at the little teeth on them.
Yeah.
Ooh, smells. I guess you've seen the lobster, huh?
Yeah, geez, look at them. Yeah, there's some monstrous ones.
Jeez, it's just not right. Oh, somebody ate the tail. What can I say? We haven't walked for 10 days. And it's hotter because we're closer to the equator by another 700 miles.
So you've become a sports fan and decided to hang out on the soccer field.
No, just take a rest from this long, hot walk.
Yeah, it's been a great walk.
This.
Where are we? This is called Long Beach, eh?
Long Beach.
And this is the local sports facility, looks like. Some gym equipment.
Yeah, this is not an island of recreation or working out or staying in shape. Everybody that's on this island is here for one reason and one reason only, and that's to work. If you don't work here, you can't live here.
All right, I'm going down to the dinghy.
Okay.
Much lower now. Much slower.
So it should be a little easier, eh?
I don't know. I come right up to stairs before I...
Well, at least the surge isn't going to be as bad.
Oh, what's that?
He's big, eh?
The next morning we got up bright and early and headed in for our COVID vaccines. This is a very noisy dock. They're rebuilding the airport on Ascension, and all of the cars are rented, and lots of work's going on, lots of trucks, probably 150 a day going back and forth across the island, so you get off onto a construction site when you get to the dock.
So this morning, we're getting our second vaccine. I've never been so happy about getting a jab in the arm before, but it's our second one, so we'll be protected like the rest of you in America are and other places. So, yay! Pretty stoked to get a jab in the arm today. Probably put me down for 2 or 3 days. Had COVID before, and I think I had it twice. The side effects are worse, so I expect to be down for a couple days. But it would be nice if I wasn't. Hoping not to be. Hoping everything will be excellent, good, healthy, happy.
While the USA and other first world countries were getting well vaccinated by May of this year, and many were rebelling against getting it, it was in short supply in many other parts of the world, and only the rich, the privileged, the very aged, or medical workers had that blessing. How lucky were we to be getting it now, and in a beautiful place that we got to sail to on the capable and seaworthy brick house. While we had to wait to the end of the day in St. Helena to get leftover doses, the doctor and staff here were very eager to do their part to help get the world vaccinated. They set up a special day for follow-up vaccines for their newer arrivals to the island and administered exactly 2 more vials of the poison to 12 lucky people, the 2 of us included. In many countries, cruisers have struggled to get COVID vaccinations because they were offered only to residences. If only the wisdom of Ascension had caught on earlier in the rest of the world.
Well, yeah, into the hospital.
any other vaccines or test shots since having
Okay, so that was the last vaccine you got. You haven't previously had any action to any medication.
right arm.
And you don't have any blood clotting problems. Not taking medication for it, not using any blood thinners. No. You haven't previously had a severe reaction to food or medication.
No. But I did get a fever with the last shot, and I'm hoping I don't get a fever with this.
Hopefully not. Oh, yes.
With
Well done.
about 800 of these. So
Yes,
then
you're
you'll
done.
probably
Let me just have a look and see.
What a smile.
It doesn't hurt going in, it's afterwards that it hurts.
Yes,
No, it's
I almost thought about getting it in my right arm because my left arm still hurts a little.
Okay. Have you had any change in medication since having the last vaccine?
no medication at all.
Okay. Roll your sleeve up for me. Okay, here we go. Good. There we go, just press on
you.
there for me. Thank you. And that's your card. Lovely.
Right after the vaccine, we hitchhiked to the other side of the island. I didn't want to spend 2 or 3 days down in St. Helena. I wanted to have at least one good day on the island since we only got a week. So we set off before any of my reactions to the vaccine would ever begin. So this nice lady from the Public Works Department gave us a lift. Her department dealt with the sewer systems, pet control, pool management, and many other facets of the infrastructure on the island. She had been born there to working parents from St. Helena, and then when she got old enough to work, she had to get a job or leave her parents' home and island and go back to St. Helena. Her parents are now retired, so they had to go back to St. Helena. She carries on the family tradition and remains here for her career. These are feral donkeys brought to the island in the 19th century for labor. They now roam free here and are considered pests, littering the town and yards with their manure.
Hello, fellas.
But they are kind of cute, aren't they?
Oh, hello. Hello. Look there. Hello, fellas. Hello. They won't do anything. They came as freaking house pets.
So, will Rebecca get kicked in the face by these tame house pets?
Yeah, what have you got? What is it? Oh, beautiful.
So as soon as we started seeing the island, we could see what a gem it was. Tourists can fly here, but one big advantage to cruisers who are actively sailing to these remote locations during COVID is that not many tourists are daring to travel so far. Hotels are shut down, even restaurants were closed, so we had the place all to ourselves. Unfortunately, we could not find a car to rent since all of them were already rented to airport construction workers. So we had many long hikes and thumbed rides, which after days at sea and many more to come, were a welcome diversion. Thank you to this lady, the friendly policemen, and many others who picked us up with a smile.
Ooh. Bye-bye.
Did I mention we're on the top of Green Mountain? It's the highest point on Ascension, and it's one of the very few large-scale artificial forests. In July of 1836, Charles Darwin originally described this island as barren. British botanist Joseph Dalton Hooker proposed a plan to make life more bearable there, a way to harvest water. Many plants and trees were introduced, and by the early 1900s, many crops such as bananas and guavas grew naturally. This all resulted in a cloud forest, which resulted in rain, which resulted in water collection. Green Mountain is now a national park where endemic species are actively conserved. This structure is reportedly a former barrack for the men who built what's affectionately called the dew ponds, later inhabited by the farms who cultivated the lands. Now they are abandoned and everyone lives in homes down below. Feels like a wild goose chase to me. So you just put me on your shoulders. That's all you have to do. And then I can reach that bottom one and pull the flower and get the bananas.
I think we just go into the forest and look for some low-hanging fruit. Out there,
There's never low hanging
with you on my shoulders. What the hell?
As we walked down this path, we wondered if this ginger to our right here was the edible version of ginger, but alas it wasn't.
What's the navigator doing?
Just looking to try to see if we're like here or if we're somewhere along here.
Does it show you the aerial field?
No, but I would bet it's here.
Yeah.
So we've only done
What is that symbol there?
Viewpoint, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, viewpoint.
So we're about there, yeah. Just started. And that's where we gotta go. Here we gotta go.
Oh, wow.
Beautiful, huh?
Sheep and goats were initially brought to the island to provide passing ships with meat. While there are still lots of sheep, all feral now, there are no goats left on the island. The goats were used for target practice by the army in the 1940s.
In the sea brick house. And currently, a couple of hundred turtles nested in that little sliver of white beach. Amazing.
And very green.
This is 1% of the volcano that's exposed.
Yeah.
99% is below the water.
Yeah, amazing.
Quite a hell of a thing, yeah?
Yeah.
Let's hope we get back down there before it blows.
Let's hope.
Lunch.
Lunch.
What have we got?
Ham, cheese, lettuce, mayonnaise, bread, and grapes. And cookies.
And a little guy hanging on hoping for a leftover. Is it self-help?
Self-help.
Does that mean that's yours?
That's mine.
Oh, goodness.
Do you want to make you one? I'll make you one.
Oh, yeah. Good call. Lettuce.
promise you
Eat the
that.
lettuce first. Aren't you putting lettuce on it?
That's mine.
You did?
Don't let that loose. You'll love that.
Is it a suitable lunch? Jimmy, that's the one.
So after our one-day excursion, seeing how beautiful the island was, we wanted to see more. So because we didn't have any reaction, neither one of us, to the vaccine, we booked a tour with the local conservation society who showed us around to all of the sites. This one was a sooty tern nesting spot. There's several around the island, but this is just the most accessible by four-wheel drive that we could get to see them all in action. And everywhere there were eggs on the ground, broken eggs, nesting terns, and flying terns trying to protect their family. So, yeah, it was quite interesting. It was a good thing we didn't go in a rented car, that we went in a four-wheel drive car, because, yeah, she had all she could do to get over some of these bumps and through some of the mud and dirt on the trails, but it was fun and beautiful. There's another nesting site way off in the distance there that you can't even really get to by four-wheel drive. Went up through the hills and went to the other side of the island. Nassau did not just operate from Cape Canaveral and Houston. 16 antennas dotted the globe, and it's here on Ascension Island that the famous words were first heard. The eagle has landed. Right here in Nassau's most remote tracking site.
Are these coleus trees?
Which one?
The red ones?
That's the marginata. Okay. Then we can work over these three. Yeah. There's real fast up here.
Yeah.
Back to the same building we began at. But unlike last time, we get to drive down, not walk. Well, a week goes by fast, and it was time to get our COVID tests in preparation for our departure to Greneda, 3,100 miles away. We were sitting there discussing, like, why are we getting a COVID test? We're going to be on the water for 25 to 30 days. Why should we get a COVID test? But it's the rules of the country that we're going to, and we abide by the rules, do what we're told.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye. So, we're what? We're negative.
We're negative.
We're good to go.
Probably look at it, huh?
Yeah, let's look at it.
Looks like... Oh, very official looking.
For both of us?
One for
Or is
each
that
of us.
one? Yeah.
7 or 8 years ago, I worked on Kwajalein Atoll with Rick, and Rick now works here, so he showed us around the island quite a bit. And this was at the end of the day, going around with him, and waiting for us at the dock were the usual sharks. Lots of Galapagos sharks, 7, 8, 9 feet long, and reportedly very aggressive. Even the diving club at the island were not letting people in the water because of these sharks. It was always a little bit harrowing at the dinghy dock to get in the water with the sharks circling the dinghy.
Let's get in the water before the sharkies come out. Oh yeah, the sharkies are out.
Yeah. Rick's going to be standing watch for us up on the top.
I will.
Make sure we're going to get home. We don't have VHF, but I got a red flare, so if you see anything going,
Red flare.
call in the cavalry, okay?
Over the red flare. They're holding the dinghy.
All right, let's get this show on the road.
Okay, okay.
Do we have everything down there already?
Yep. So this is goodbye, Ascension.
What a cool island, huh?
Yeah, it's amazing stuff.
Amazing island.
We had a right royal send-off with the sharks.
God, those things are big.
Yeah.
So big.
And as luck would have it, we had the stern anchor jammed. And as I was pulling it up, one of the buggers came up, right up to the side of the boat, right up there, chasing after the thing. I had to throw the anchor onto his head to get him away.
Jesus.
3 of them, not just one, the whole batch.
Really?
Yep, that's where we got to go. Brick house just over there. And Rick standing by to make sure we get home. So all's good. The wind has at least died down. The sharks are not chasing after us.
And Rick doesn't like the idea of us floating around here in an inflatable dinghy with sharp teeth of a shark. I'm not sure I like the idea either. These are Galapagos sharks. They're aggressive, so it's a little bit scary going back at this time of the night when they're hungry for outboard props. But it's been said here in Ascension that they're attacking outboard props, which is what I'm steering with right now. I'm not sure if they like fast outboard props or slow outboard props, so I'm kind of going medium.
I don't know, all these rumors, are they reality? Who knows? I don't really want to find out as the sun's going down. The day before, the night before we're departing, so I'd just like to get back to the boat and play it safe. Needless to say, we did get back to the boat. We pulled up anchor the next morning, and away we went. As Michael and I departed Ascension Island, we were both keenly aware that this very likely would be our last passage together. With COVID so rife in Brazil and neighboring countries, we didn't want those stamps in our passport, and I was afraid if we got hung up in one of those ports with our enflared relationship, that I may find myself alone in a non-English speaking country and potentially not the safest situation.
Off we go. By Ascension. Hello, Grenada. 3,100 miles to go. Longest passage I've ever done in French Polynesia from Galapagos was 2,000. This one's 3,000. That one was either 19 or 23 days, I can't remember. But I think this one might be 25 or 30 days. Or who knows, longer if there's no wind. But the wind forecast looks good. All 5 models agree that we're good till at least Fernando de Noronha. And after that, it's all a gamble. Tomorrow's all a gamble. Today is all a gamble, isn't it? Pretty much.
So my gut told me to make a straight run to Grenada, where I'd be safe and in a good position to start a new life alone. So hence there is one long passage ahead of us now, in more ways than one, but on the other side we'll both be free from further obligation to each other and can get on with our short and precious lives. We both started off with very, very high hopes, ready to do anything to make a relationship work with a fellow sailor and traveler. That's pretty hard to find. It had seemed we had gotten very lucky, but maybe not. A bit much to have expected, I guess. But I was still hopeful. We both were. So when we get to Greneda, Michael will leave the boat, unless of course some minor miracle happens as we sail there, and we'll both start new chapters. Michael has been incredibly understanding of my loss and my issues, has taken great care of me to his own detriment, and I feel incredibly guilty for having led him away from his home and family and not making sure that it worked out. But I guess life isn't like that. The only constant thing is change, especially for a sailor, and I'll celebrate that we had some good times together crossing the Atlantic Ocean and stopping at places like Namibia, St. Helena, Ascension Island, and soon Grenada in the southern Caribbean. When we arrive there, I'll be just a mere 1,000 miles away from crossing my outbound tracks and completing my circumnavigation around the world. 15 years, wow. And Michael will have thousands of sea miles under his keel and be ready for a great career in the marine industry. If you need a captain or a thorough inspection on a sailboat you're considering buying, or have an interesting boat building project for him, Michael's contact info is in the description below. If you are an experienced, agreeable crew interested in sailing Brick House through the Caribbean, helping Rebecca to complete her circumnavigation, starting in November for a few months, ending on the East Coast a few months later, and are willing to share all expenses, share lots of your filming, drop your email address in the comments below, and I'll be in touch.